What was the effect of print revolution? Printing reduced the cost of book, the time and the labor required to produce each book come down. Multiple copies could be produced easily. Circulation of ideas and open new world of defeat and discussion brought new intellectual atmosphere, helped spread the new idea that led to reformation. Individual interpretation of faith even about little educated people. The writer enlightened thinkers helped in French Revolution. What is pattern in printing? In letter place printing, pattern is a board which is pressed onto the back of the paper to get the impression for the type. Who is called a compositor? The person who composes the text for printing. What is ballad? It is an historical account of folk tale in verse, usually sung or recreated. Which is the first printed book of Japan? Diamond Sutra was first printed book of Japan, which was published in 8688 AD. What is despotism? It is a system of government in which absolute power is exercised by an individual, unregulated by legal and constitutional check. What is almanac? It is an annual publication giving astronomical date information about the movement of the sun. Woodblock printing only came to Europe after 2095. Give reason. Woodblock printing was invented in China around 6th AD, 6th century. In China, it came to Europe among the Marco Polo in 1920 in 1295. Marco Polo returned to Italy many after many years of exploration in China, and he brought the knowledge of woodblock printing with him on his return. Why was Martin Luther in favor of print and spoke out in praise of it? Martin Luther was favor in print and spoke out in praise of it because print media helped to popularize and spread his ideas. He wrote the 1905 thesis book criticizing the practice and rituals of Roman Catholic Church. These writings were immediately reproduced in vast number and read very widely. His translation of the New Testament were also accepted by and read by thousands. There was only possible due to improvement in print technology, which has allowed even the working class to gain access to books. Why Roman Catholic Church began keeping an index of prohibited books from the mid-16th century? Why? Roman Catholic Church began keeping an index of prohibited books from the mid-16th century because its authority was being put in danger by the several individual and extensive reading and questioning of faith promoted by the easily accessible popular religion literature. To supplement it in question and representation of heretical ideas, the Roman Catholic Church exercised strict control over publishers and booksellers and also began to keep an index of prohibited books from 1558. Gandhi said the fight for Swaraj is a fight for liberty of speech, liberty of press and freedom association. Why? So Gandhi said that fight for Swaraj is fight for liberty and of speech, liberty of the press, and freedom of association. Why? Because he considered these to be the powerful mode of expression and cultivation of public opinion. The denial of these freedom was not compatible with the idea of self-rule and independence. Hence, the fight for these freedom, according to him, was interestingly a fight for Swaraj or self-rule. Write short note to show what you know about the Gutenberg press. It was established by John Gutenberg in 1448. He had perfected the system of printing with olive and wine printing using contemporary technologies and evolution. The first book he printed was Bible, making 180 copies in 3 years. Although this book was printed, a unique touch remained in the handmade designs of the front page, which was eliminated and purchaser-specified design. The Gutenberg press was the first known printing press. Write a short note to show what you know about Erasmus's idea of the printed book. Erasmus's idea of the printed book. He was critical of the printing medium. He believed that through some books do provide worthwhile knowledge, others are simply a bane for scholarship. Erasmus accused printing of publishing books that were not mere terrifying but stupid, scandalous, raving, irreligious, and scandalous. He also felt that large number of such books reduced the value of the quality writing. Write a short note to show what you know about the Vernacular Press Act. The Vernacular Press Act modulated on the Irish press law. It was passed in 1878. Modeled in the Irish press law, it was passed in 1788. In 1878, this law gave the government tyrannical power to censor reports and editorial in the vernacular press. If a studious report was published and the newspaper did not hold to it an initial warning, then the press was seized and the printing machinery confiscated. This was a complete violation of freedom of expression. What did the spread of print culture in 19th century India mean? The spread of print culture in 19th century in India brought about educational reforms for women. Liberal hundred and father educated their women at home or sent them to school for women. Women also had been restricted to a domestic life for generation. New found Now found a new medium of entertainment. They also began to write articles for general in favor of women's education and literacy. Some even wrote book. Rasundari Devi autobiography Amar Jaban was the first full-length autobiography published in 1866. Conservatives believed that the education and reading would make women widow or corrupt them. Many women learned to read and write in secret in such traditionalist environment. What did the spread of print culture in 19th century India mean to the poor? The poor, they benefited from the spread of print culture in India on account of the availability of low-priced books and published literacy. Enlightening essays were written against caste discrimination and inheritance justice. These were read by people across the country on the encouragement and support of social reformer or overworked factory work set up Libert for safe education, and some of them even published their own works. For example, Kashiba and his Chote or Bade Sawar. What did the spread of print culture in 19th century India mean to reformers? Reformers. Print culture popularity was an advantage for social and religious reformers as they could now spread their opinion through newspaper and book across the masses. These ideas could then be debated upon by different group of people. Reformist ideas were put forward in the local, everyday language of the common people so as to create a wider platform for same. Why did some people in 18th century Europe think that print culture would bring enlightenment and despotism? Some people in 18th century Europe thought that print culture would bring enlightenment and despotism. Its essay and cheap availability means that literacy would no longer be restricted to the upper class, while the clergy and monarch feared the enlightenment that a vast reading public would gain. Reform like Martin Luther welcomed the change. They felt that it would mark an end to the blind adherence to the rule ideology. This can be seen in the French Revolution as well. The print medium allowed the idea of freedom, equality, and brotherhood set forth by Rousseau and Voltaire in their writing to reach the public. It created a new culture of dialogue and debate that intended the working class into questioning and re-evaluating social custom and norms. The power of reason that the public gained initiated social reform and brought an end to despotism. Why did some people fear that effect of easy available printed book? The people who feared the effect of easily available printing book were the one who held some power. whether in terms of religion, caste, class, or politics. The fear was that their power and authority would get eroded if ideas questioning their power and authority gained mass popularity. In Europe, for example, the Roman Catholic Church conveyed its sense of appreciation for the print medium by starting that the promotion of new printed reading of faith would lead to blasphemous questioning of faith and encouraged heretical ideas. It considered itself to be the sole authority for interpreting religion. Hence, it set up the Index of Prohibited Books in 1558 to repress and published material that it felt corroded this authority. In India, apart from the colonial government, which did its bit in regulating and suppressing newspaper and books that questioned and criticized the colonial authority. What were the effects of the spread of print culture for poor people in 19th century India? So the poor people benefited from the spread of print culture in India on account of availability of low price book and public literacy. Enlightening essays were written against caste discrimination and it inherited injustice. These were read by people across the country on the encouragement and support of social reformer. Overworked factory workers set up libraries for self-education, and some of them even published their own work, for example Kashiba and her Chote aur Bade Sabak. Explain how print culture assisted the growth of nationalism in India. Print culture assisted the growth of nationalism in India by providing easy access to nationalist idea an idea of freedom and equality to the masses. Social reformers could now print their opinion in newspapers, which sparked of public debates. The power of religion made the common people question the authority of colonial power. Interestingly, when the British tried to censor and control print media, nationalist newspapers grew in number everywhere in the country. They reported on colonial misrule and encouraged people to participate in nationalist activities. Attempts to censor anti-colonial publication occurred militant protests as well.